At the Ares Academy, we were taught that sentiment is a liability, compassion is a tactical error. My father, the commandant, founded our private military academy on this creed. We were not a family. We were a unit. We were raised on a remote mountain-ringed compound, isolated from the world, and forged into the most elite private security forces money could buy. At 17, I was his greatest creation, a master strategist, a lethal combatant, and his daughter. I was also his most valuable asset, and he was about to cash me in. The decree was issued in the Tactical Operations Center, the glow of holographic maps reflecting in my father's cold eyes. Kalen, he began, his voice devoid of warmth. We have finalized the security contract with Mr. Kincaid. It's a multi-decade exclusive. He is particular. The terms require a personal liaison from my own bloodline to guarantee loyalty. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. You will be his personal bodyguard. The strategic alliance pact will be finalized during the live fire demonstration next month. Kincaid, a name spoken in hushed, fearful tones, even in the dark world we inhabited, a ruthless international arms dealer. The two previous liaisons he'd acquired from other organizations had died in highly suspicious combat situations. This wasn't a contract. It was a death sentence. My mother, a woman whose softness had been brutally conditioned out of her years ago, simply nodded. My fate was sealed. My training, already brutal, was intensified. It was a calculated campaign of dehumanization disguised as elite preparation. I was pitted against larger male cadets in full contact, sparring sessions designed to break me. My discipline was enforced with days of sleep deprivation in the field and forced marches with a full pack until my muscles failed. They didn't teach me how to be a wife. They taught me how to kill, how to secure a perimeter, how to be a weapon. My value was measured in my efficiency as a tool of violence. The one anomaly in our tightly controlled world was Mr. Alistair Finch, a civilian instructor who taught geopolitical history. A former war correspondent, he had a haunted look in his eyes that I recognized in myself. One day, after a particularly brutal session, he asked me to stay after class. He didn't say much. He just handed me a worn copy of the Geneva Conventions and a biography of a notorious war criminal. There is a line between a soldier and a monster. Kalen, he said quietly. It is the only thing that separates us from them. That night, I read the books under a dim tactical light. For the first time, I saw the words for what my father did. War crimes, human rights violations, illegal arms trafficking. The book was a mirror, and in it, I saw the monster I was being forged into. The next day, I approached 3 other female cadets, Ria, Zara, and Linal, brilliant soldiers, all destined for similar pacts to seal future deals. I called a tactical study group in one of the disused storage bunkers. On the dusty wargaming table, we didn't plan mock battles, we planned a revolution. We used the very skills my father had taught us, signals intelligence, cryptography, tactical planning to turn his own system against him. We began to build a secret digital ledger, documenting every illegal weapons manifest we could access, every mission plan that violated international law, every whispered conversation about Kincaid's disposable liaisons. The live fire demonstration was our only way out. It was a massive annual event where the Academy showcased its capabilities to its wealthiest clients. It was also the day my pact with Kincaid would be signed. Our plan was audacious, a high-stakes tactical operation. We had one shot. The day of the demonstration was hot and tense. Kincaid sat beside my father on an elevated viewing platform, watching as cadets performed flawless assaults on mock villages. My team was scheduled for the final event, a hostage rescue simulation. This was our moment. As our transport helicopter approached the objective, I gave the signal. Ria, positioned in the comms tent, triggered a small, targeted EMP device we had built, instantly disabling the viewing platform's surveillance feeds. Zara, hidden in the hills, launched a series of smoke grenades, not at the objective, but around the perimeter of the entire training ground, creating mass confusion. Our helicopter landed, but instead of storming the target building, my team moved in the opposite direction, toward the command and control bunker. Inside, we subdued the 2 guards and made a beeline for the central server. I plugged in a hard drive, initiating a high-speed data transfer of our entire evidence ledger. Alarms blared across the compound. They're on to us, Lena yelled over the noise. Almost there, I said, watching the progress bar crawl. The transfer completed, I grabbed the drive. We ran for the service exit, where a pre-stashed heavily modified jeep was waiting. We burst out of the bunker and into the smoke-filled chaos. Behind us, I could hear my father's voice, no longer calm and commanding, but a raw, furious roar. We were no longer his assets, we were rogue agents. We drove for 2 days, going completely off-grid, using our training to evade the Academy's trackers. We knew local law enforcement would be useless. My father's influence was too deep. My only hope was the world Mr. Finch had shown me. From a secure satellite phone, I contacted the International Criminal Court's hotline, and then the war crimes journalist Mr. Finch had told me about. The fight that followed was a new kind of war. My father, enraged by the betrayal, launched a full-scale hunt. He used his global network of assets to track us, framing us as rogue cadets who had stolen sensitive corporate data. It was a Black Ops mission to neutralize the threat, but we were no longer just for girls. The human rights organization we contacted gave us a safe house and legal resources. We became an anonymous intelligence cell, feeding our stolen data to the journalist, who began to piece together a story of a shadow empire built on violence and crime. The story broke like a thunderclap. It was an expose that didn't just target the Ares Academy. It implicated the powerful politicians and corporate titans who used its illegal services. It created an international firestorm. Sanctions were threatened. Treaties were questioned. The final battle took place not on a battlefield, But in a hearing room at The Hague, my father was forced to testify. He was calm, powerful, and utterly convincing, dismissing the article as fiction and me as a disgruntled, unstable daughter. But then the tribunal called a surprise witness. Mr. Alistair Finch walked to the stand. He presented the hard drive I had stolen, now verified by forensic experts. He then gave his own testimony, corroborating our evidence with his own observations from his years inside the academy. He spoke of the illegal weapons, the missions that were nothing more than assassinations, and the culture of fear that permeated every corner of the compound. It was over. Faced with irrefutable evidence and testimony from a credible insider, the Commandant's empire collapsed, the Ares Academy was sanctioned, its assets frozen. My father and his top commanders were indicted by the International Criminal Court, their names added to Interpol's red notice list. They were no longer kings in their own country. They were international fugitives. The news reached me in a small, quiet office in an undisclosed European city. I was working with the Human Rights Organization, using my tactical planning skills to help map escape routes for defectors from other oppressive regimes. My father had trained me to be a weapon, and in a way, I had become one, but not his. A young woman sat across from me, a political refugee who had just escaped her country. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a terrifying, familiar fear. They will hunt me, she whispered. They will never stop. I looked back at her, my own past, a fresh scar. Yes, they will, I said, my voice steady and clear. But we will be ready for them, we will fight back. In the ashes of my father's fallen kingdom, I had found my true mission. I was no longer a soldier for hire. I was a guardian for the hunted. And my war was just beginning.